Hello, I'm Elgato and welcome back to the video. So one of my favourite things to do in Minecraft after I finish building something or I've done something really giant is to cover it in TNT and then blow it up. There's just something really satisfying about destroying all of the work you've just done, and although this is obviously going to be a saved copy, today I figured one of the things that 4J probably didn't get to do when they made their own, glide, minigame map is blow it up afterwards. I feel like they're probably not being paid to blow up their own maps, so in today's video I figured why not cover it in TNT, which is what I've done. It took me several hours, but I've covered the entire glide map of Cavern with TNT, and today I'm going to be blowing it up. Hopefully you do all enjoy the video. Like it if you do like it, because it helps out the channel a lot and makes the TNT cat that you're seeing right now quite happy. But with that said, yeah, let's get straight into it. And I guess what we'll do first is I'll fly through the map to kind of just show you how much TNT there is, because sometimes it's kind of tricky to appreciate just how big these glide maps actually are. Again, you might think like hours just to do this much TNT, but when you realize just how much is going on across this entire thing, how many multiple routes there is, and how all of these are covered in TNT, you realize how like, oh yeah, it turns out these maps are pretty big. So yeah, here's just a brief fly through so you can see just, how this is all going to go down. In some cases it's a bit thicker than others, in some cases it goes down more routes than others, but for the most part, yeah, this map is covered in TNT. With just one more thing I want to actually say, which is the fact that if you look around you might see some stuff looks a little destroyed already. Bear in mind, half that's because the map is meant to look destroyed, and half of that's because I accidentally left fire spreads on for the first bit, so in some cases, some TNT went off early and destroyed just entire walls. So if you see something that looks like it probably shouldn't, that's because of that, and it means that this is kind of like the second layer of TNT. So yeah, for instance here, there was fire right over there, and it spread and just destroyed the entire wall. But for the most part, I have covered that up. For the most part, there is just, small changes in place to make that happen, and there's also a few places where I figure, because again, this was done with the help of Mega vs. Prime, there's some cases where I really enjoyed like what he did, there's some cases where I really enjoyed what I did, and one of those is like, the villager with the giant TNT nose. It's a small thing. This is sort of thing that I'm hoping will make for a slightly more interesting destruction part, because again, in most cases it's just, oh yeah, here's a layer of TNT going all the way through the map, and in some cases it's very specifically designed to destroy one thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it does that. So for instance, this little temple here, very clearly set up to blow. For instance, if you look at this temple over here as well, certain objects are just really rigged to blow, and in particular, the one I'm looking forward to is this last stretch. I figured, like how it is in Glide, it's the last stretch where you're like flying at super fast speed, I figured why not destroy it at the maximum level I could. And then finally, we've got this room over here, deliberately untouched, so that we can see the comparison of destroyed map versus not destroyed map. So yeah, what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to spawn right now, which again, in case you haven't seen the outside of the map video, which I made in this, the spawn and the end of the map are actually really close. You just take this really winding path between them. I figured, what I've done is I've set up a button at the spawn, and what we're going to do is we're going to press it right now, and we're going to see how that, oh, I guess I placed the button right. We're going to place a button somewhere a bit better than that, right over there, and then we'll place a bit of TNT behind it, and now we'll see exactly how oh, because TNT explodes is off. Okay, well, now I don't feel quite so silly about it, but yeah, we're going to press the TNT right there, and we're going to see this slowly detonate. So the first thing that's going to go is going to be the the cat face of TNT. I significantly underestimated just how much TNT would go flying and where, and oh, it looks like the first bit have failed already. So yeah, this is one of the problems actually, like having so much TNT and like having it like layer the walls in this particular way means there's likely going to be a few detonations. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to let the TNT just slowly go around and destroy. We're going to see some crazy stuff goes on as this happened, and I'll show you a few highlights on the screen, and then we'll get to the end and we can see the destruction it's causing. Because like I said, there's really cool chain reactions where stuff like that happens and the entire thing goes down, and and we can also see giant holes in the map, which is one of my favorite bits. We might have a way better glide map by the end. So yeah, after we've gone through a few more of these giant segments which you're seeing, I think what we'll do is we'll skip to the end and I'll try and glide through it. I'll see if it still just about functions as a glide map, and I'll see if it's even more entertaining. Maybe they should just go around and blow up their own maps, because there is something kind of fascinating about that. So yeah, let's let's skip ahead a little bit. So that was the destruction of Cavern, and yeah, it actually took quite some time because there's lots of, little bits of leftover TNT. There still is some, but like some strips wouldn't connect, and basically detonating an entire map at once is kind of tricky, as you might imagine, but it's mostly done now, and as you can see, the map is pretty much intact. It looks basically the same as it did before, and I think the best way to show off just all the different little things that have happened is just to glide through it like it's a normal game of Glide. So I mean, the first thing you'll notice actually if it was a normal game of Glide is the starting platform, or the thing just behind where you start, is actually being pretty much destroyed entirely. I mean, I think that was due to the, the giant cat face, but there's just a big kind of hole in the wall most of the blocks are missing here, and that's especially impressive given they were made out of stone, because something, again, you always realize as you blow up something, is that dirt gets destroyed a lot easier than stone, because stone has a very high blast resistance. That's like a pro tip if you're trying to avoid gas, and not so much of a pro tip if you're trying to blow up a map. So, yeah, here you can see, first of all, the big 2 giant holes. It looks like there were just dirt walls all the way through here, which have now been destroyed entirely, and give you glimpses into other, little parts of the map. Oh, there's some jungle from, I guess, near the ending, and I guess there's some not jungle, or is that, yeah, that's jungle too, from maybe one of the other sections. You can see through to both of them, and it makes you wonder what Glide would be like if you could, make your own shortcuts of TNT there. But, yeah, as well as that, we've got a hole in the floor right here. This one isn't so much of a shortcut, but it does show you that between certain sections of the map, obviously they didn't need to be built, so there is just this weird, like, oh, yeah, there's the ceiling of another map. How interesting that is. So, yeah, as we fly through what would be, the speed booster, which, by the way, quite a few things like that are still intact, and we fly through this hole right here, we really start to see some of the devastation just take hold. Because, again, while some bits of the map are made out of stone and survive just about fine, even the stone bits are like, ooh, yeah, that's not too great. There should be a wall here, I think. And then there are just giant holes in the wall pretty much everywhere else. In fact, I think holes in the wall and holes in the floor are something you'll spot pretty much constantly through this map. But one of my favorite things about those holes in the wall and floor is that some of them actually, like, bend through to other parts of the map. So if I took this shortcut over here, the one with the diamond ring in Score Attack, I would have ended up in an entirely different part of the map, because as it turns out, they're linked right next to each other. There's like a few blocks between them, and if you use TNT, you can discover stuff like that. So isn't that a fun little coincidence? And yeah, if we fly, even forwards, or even more through the map, then you'll see the usual Glide experience is not happening as normal here. Like, the shortcuts seem to survive just fine, because they mostly are through stone, but then once you go beyond any one of those, you're like, oh yeah, well, I don't think there's meant to be a hole going through to that section of the map here, but it's nice that it exists anyway. And in fact, actually, I find it to be rather, interesting that, again, you can, this part of the map does link in so closely to this one. Like, I don't think, normally people assume that it goes that way, but yeah, you take the 180-degree turn in this, cavern over here, which, by the way, again, not seeing its best days, but you take the 180-degree turn through the cavern here, which, by the way, also then leads you just below the start area, which now is pouring through right to here, and then that takes you down to here, which just shows how tightly and compact some of this map is made, because that's like 3 giant different segments of the map, all within a few blocks of each other, because of how, cleverly all the turns are designed, and that's a cool thing you get to see from destroying the map, at least. The bridge over here is not really much of a bridge anymore. I mean, it doesn't connect the 2 sides very well. I mean, I guess you could, in theory, do that in survival, and I guess we're gliding, so it doesn't matter, but then that leads us into probably the worst destroyed section of all, the twisty turns, the maze sort of thing, because this entire thing was made out of half slabs above nothing else, which means that all it took is a few bits of TNT, being on top of it, to just entirely destroy the floor on all regards there. So, yeah, as you can see, the floor isn't really a thing, which is quite handy when you're playing Glide, and also, we created a brand new shortcut. As you can see, you can now cut through the pillars right here, and the entire idea of this being a maze has fortunately been removed. All you have to do, has been removed, sorry. All you have to do now is just, like, cut through this hole here, cut through that hole here, cut through lots of holes, and you can get your stuff done. Another convenient benefit is the fact that this shortcut right here has been made a lot easier. It's no longer a cave, it's just, an entrance and an exit, and in case you're having problems with it, maybe, again, you just need to blow up the map. That's clearly the solution to your problems right there. So, as well as that, we've got, this shortcut up here, 100% fine, survived with, like, 0 damage whatsoever. Bottom half of it, not quite so lucky. As you can see, same problem where we got giant holes in the map, leading you right through to an NPC village. And a part of me wishes that there was, like, some secret way out of the map like that, so you could just be like, I'm enjoying playing Cavern and all, but how about we go to the village instead? Like, I bet having some wheat or some, like, whatever's in the blacksmith chest, I bet if I could go and find myself, oh, there's no blacksmith chest. Did they remove both those chests? Maybe they did, but, like, oh, there is no blacksmith chest. Well, I guess finding a sword and, killing the other players is not a dream you can hope on, but it is something that you can see from this part of the map, which, by the way, you can see just how destroyed it is, and you can see some other holes in and out, but let's glide through the map even further. This is the section where there's a left and a right, and they're, both really easy to do. They just lift you both up. The launch pad, however, has been destroyed here, and all but one of the launch, or all but half of the launch pads have been destroyed over here too. Oh, 2 halves. That's a full launch pad between them. That means you can go up to this next bit and, be entirely fine here. So, next up we've got this section, which, as you can see, the cavern's got a lot spookier because you can see all the way through. The floor here has been missing quite a bit too, so that's quite a lot of water floating out of the map that probably shouldn't be. But again, that's good. Waterfalls are good for the environment. Trust me, that's how that works. A few bits of TNT left over, which again, we can detonate as we go along just for fun. The reason that it took so long is because of all this sort of stuff, by the way, which you can just really see. Then we've got the bridge up here, which survived just fine. You know, none of the TNT really got launched. The bridge over here just doesn't exist. You literally can't see it. Like, you might be thinking, what bridge? And then you're like, oh yeah, the one with the booster on, I guess. Yep, entirely gone there too. The NPC villager face, as you can see, the outline's there, but apparently the nose is what destroys the rest of it. So pro tip, if you're ever building a giant villager and destroying it, all you need to do is hit the nose and you can just about destroy the rest of that. This section of the map survived surprisingly well. Which, again, you can see it looks pretty much the same until you get halfway through the corridor, and then on this side of the map it didn't do quite so well. All the chests are gone, all the detail is gone. It's just some holes in the mountain. You know, it went right back down to the stone, which is an interesting little thing right there. And we also created a really useful shortcut if you're trying to get the world record, because you can just cut right through here and go to the very end of the course, which as you can see is over here. So just one more section before that, which is of course the again, the place where certain things were rigged to explode. This didn't get as destroyed as I was hoping. This, however, did take a lot of damage, even though it wasn't hoping to get destroyed. And there's a few things which are just like pretty much intact, which is, you know, that's kind of nice, I guess. That's nice that TNT can't destroy everything. There is a certain amount of randomness in which direction it flies, and that can save, that can save lives when there's a giant bombing thing going on. So then finally, we've got the final stretch, which again, a lot easier right now, because all it is just like, again, all of the details being destroyed. It's just this roughly circular shaped cavern with a few bits in the middle, which arguably I'd say is like harder in some bits, because you've got to dodge like, you know, 1 or 2 blocks in the sky. But yeah, this is the last section which you can fly through and lead you to the very end, which was meant to not get destroyed at all, but again, a few rogue pieces of TNT got in here, so I guess we're leaving some water draining out of the map in more than one place, or 2 places. The center's been a little bit damaged. Again, you can see a hole there. The trees over here didn't do so well either, but you know, if you ignore all the damage, the ending is looking just fine, and that is the glide map destroyed. I think it was it's always a fun thing to just go through and destroy any build. There's something about this one that was especially fun to watch, and I hope all of you did enjoy it as much as I enjoyed setting this up. Again, this was on the Mega vs Prime. We've spent maybe like 4 or 5 hours total just like, you know, placing TNT here just to make sure it like reached all the parts of the map, and I think you can definitely see that as we go through this. But one more pro tip that I'm gonna forget every time I do this, but maybe you can remember if you're destroying something yourself, is that the stone parts of the map are just there to like link in the dirt parts of the map. Like, you know, you can destroy like 10 times as much dirt with a single piece of TNT as you can with stone, which is why, you know, the stone just kind of looks like, oh yeah, that could have been how it was before, because again, it was meant to be like rough stone cave before, and although certain bits can reach the edge, most of it does not. So yeah, there's a little pro tip for destruction that I hope you do all enjoy. Let's do one quick speed run with the new course, because I think okay, so we're playing glide. Let's see what a fast time we can get. I think now the easy shortcut is you can cut through the wall here, and then you can go through the ceiling. Oh, okay, I messed up right there. Then you go through the ceiling over here, and oh, is this the final stretch already? Wow, are we gonna do this? Oh, what is that? Oh, our fastest time ever. You know, glide completed in 7 seconds. All you need is a few bits of TNT, and you too could take this magical route. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed the video. Like if you liked it, share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.